So, Christina, you did the Awaken the Sage this
Yeah.
previous year, which was 2022, right?
20, yeah, 22 to 23, yes.
Yeah, right. Oh, and I'm curious, what was it specifically that you felt called to do that inner work and to begin harvesting your story? What was it that was really you were connecting with that
It
inspired?
literally, it literally was time.
Mm.
Something in my body went click and it was time.
Oh.
And this is in reading what you've offered and talking to Katrina and seeing other things. I've been involved in other workshops in the past. So this is, as far as a workshop, nothing new, but the type of workshop, it's totally different, of course.
Hmm.
But it was time. It sang to me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
absolutely sang to me. Mhm.
Mm. That's what I love about this journey is like you really have to feel the call.
Mhm.
It's something inside of us that says this is what we're supposed to do. Mm.
Yeah,
That's
and to be invited in, I was just so thankful.
mm.
What a gift.
Oh yeah. I love that part of it that really enhances the magic of these kind of journeys. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, well, I'm curious. We went over, so many different things as we traveled through the seasons, and each part of the seasons, really open us to different parts of ourselves. And I'm curious what really stood out for you in the journey, looking back now.
I think if one could be pinpointing the situation, it was harvesting,
Mm,
harvesting the wisdom from the pain of experiences in life that were negative, but finding the incredible wisdom and beauty that you can in turn share with others.
mm,
And
oh,
that was the end result of all the work. And
yeah,
I can't thank you enough for that. It's amazing.
thank you. Yeah. So, a sense of harvesting the wisdom in your stories, particularly in those moments that had a lot of pain in them, you were
Mhm,
able to really extract that and integrate it, sounds like.
mhm.
Wow.
And it took, I love the pace
Mm,
because there was a lot of wonderful information, storytelling, activities that we were involved with, writing, um, and reading, doing the work. And you have to do the work in life in
mm,
overall. But when you're involved with something of this measure, I so pray that anybody who takes this course, that you do the work because it's for you, it's for your soul, it's for remembering you,
yeah.
finding the true soul within you.
Mm,
And that's what you did. You helped me really align with that. And it was such a gift. I can't
mm,
tell you.
mm, Oh, yeah. Beautiful. That's such a deep dive, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that's what we are calling that one true vow. We get to come into contact with that and feel that being lived in us now, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Mm,
Exactly. But the pace, and again, I'm repeating myself, but the pace was, there was a method to it and
mm,
there was a beauty to it. And you have to settle into it
mm-hmm.
because of how we're raised in our current culture. We're always racing, 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 have to get to point A to point B. And no,
Right.
um, the tone from the very beginning to the very end was of an incredible natural pace.
Yeah,
And that's needed. It's so needed.
absolutely. That's one of my favorite things about the journey as well is just how we're really aligning with the movement of nature and how if we do that, nature naturally invites these parts of ourselves, to come into that part of the conversation with ourselves. And it's so organic when we just go at that pace rather than try to push through and have some objective.
Exactly.
I love that you connected in with that.
Yeah. It's really, really, it's like a heartbeat. And
Oh,
we all have that. Thank God. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. Um, part of this journey is we are greeting some of our inner thresholds and edges. And I was curious if there was a certain parts of the journey that was a challenge for you that you were glad you got to greet those edges and move through them.
I think there were a variety of edges here and there that I bumped into for sure. And quite often was in doing the work.
Mm.
But I've always learned you get what you put into life.
Mhm.
And that's an old adage, but it's so true. So I know that it was time to really push in and understand what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a broad-based spectrum here of words, but there were edges here and there having to do with my past and realizing that it is in the past. I mean, we can say that, but sometimes when you evoke a memory, you feel it very deeply and you can get very angry or very upset. Well, in doing this work, it allowed you to see it from a different perspective.
Mm.
And in learning to accomplish that perspective, it softens it.
Oh.
And the anger pulls back, the grief pulls back, and then you can see it for what it is.
Yeah.
And, for what your experience was in life. And, the further you pull back once you have this, the more amazing you see that your life truly was and is and continues to be.
Yeah. That's what I say, yum, yum, yum. I love that so much. I've done this journey, I think, what, 6 or more years in a row, and each year
Oh,
I'm
my
so
goodness.
grateful for, just what you're speaking into, like those edges and coming into new contact with the stories or the wounds I hadn't even known about.
Yes.
And then they reveal themselves in
Mhm.
a way I can have a new conversation with them. It's like I finally become ripe enough to
Mhm.
receive what they have to offer. And that's beautiful, Christina. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, one of the things we do, kind of as a form of initiation, because this is really a rites of passage, and each rites of passage has its way of bringing something to uh, a closure where you feel a sense of releasing and integration of the new. And we did the Death Lodge experience. And I was curious, how was that for you?
Um, that literally shook my world. I don't know how else to put it.
Mm.
Um, I literally followed all of your directions and wrote them down because I wanted to follow it. It's just like baking a cake. You want to have the right measurements.
Yeah.
But, for a first time, I wanted to do it as you had suggested. And it took a while to put together everything, to get myself organized and to make it happen. And it's probably one of the most spiritual experiences of my lifetime. And I've had a few amazing, shocking, beautiful things that have occurred in my life, but that was amazing.
Oh.
And that's such a small word for such a huge feeling. There
What?
was a release, a huge release. I
Mm.
literally felt it coming out of my body.
Yeah.
And I felt my ancestors and those whom I requested to be there in present. They were there, they were around me helping,
Yeah.
but it was my work and they were just witnessing.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not that's my imagination or if I truly did evoke, one doesn't know, but the feeling was there.
Yeah.
And to me, the feeling is everything. So
Oh.
it
Beautiful.
was beautiful.
What do you feel really shifted inside of you because of that experience?
I think the ability to tap into myself at a deeper level.
Mm.
I feel like I've always known, the core of me, but there are layers and layers that build up. It's almost like sediment in a sink. If you have a lot of lime in your water,
Mm.
it builds up and you're not aware of it.
Oh,
And so this was a true, if one could say, cleansing. I hate to utilize such language, but there was a clarity afterwards. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for this experience. It was incredible.
oh. I'm so happy to hear it.
Yeah, it's and it's again a small word for a huge feeling.
Yeah, it's so challenging to try to put this into words what this journey of Awaken the Sage really is, because we just don't have any context for it in today's world.
No, we don't.
We've
Not in
lost
this
the
culture.
definitions. Yeah.
Not in this culture. We are lacking the language for this.
Yes.
So
Oh,
you rely on other words and it just doesn't fit entirely.
right. And I'm curious, how would you how was the experience for you? Because a lot of this work is doing it alone, but then, we
Mhm.
gather twice a month in a group.
Right.
How was that for you as being part of a group and then doing your own work? And well, yeah, how was that for you?
Well, I actually thrive in having a combination of such work.
Mhm,
But in this case, to be able to be part of a group and
mhm,
to witness how we subtly changed each time we met,
mm,
and to witness other stories, to witness that, we all have these unique, beautiful, and difficult lives. I mean, it's a mix. It's no one has a super easy or super difficult, but it's life is a wild mix.
mhm.
And just to witness who they became from their stories and their work, because they did work, they did put in the work.
Yeah,
And wow, it, wow, with stars in my eyes.
yes.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh,
And I'm very good at doing my own work. I've always been very independent as a human being. I've done a lot of things solo in my life. So I love that time of introspection to do the work within and um, but then to be able to share
yeah,
and also to witness. And I think there's such a natural necessity for we humans to have that interaction.
yeah.
It's part of being a community, and I can't tell you how valuable that is.
Mm. Oh, yeah. That's such a beautiful reflection. Yeah. That's my favorite part is just witnessing and catching each other's stories, witnessing how we each grow. We grow so much from one circle to the next circle, right?
Yes,
Wow.
indeed.
Magic.
It is magic.
It's real
But,
magic. Love it.
but we all have it within, you know.
Hmm.
And again, we only have that one word, but there's so many words I'm sure that we don't understand that would describe it better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm.
Mhm.
What what would you consider looking to how you were and where you were with your own story, your own sense of self or life before the journey compared to afterwards? What was the main difference that you noticed now?
I feel like I was heavier. I was carrying a lot.
Mm,
Um, um, and I was going too fast for my own good.
mm,
I had sped up, which is not something I wanted to do, but I guess life around me was too much at times, and so you just have to slow it down.
mm.
But in doing this, I was able to really center myself enough so that I know when I have to step away and say, I need to
Mm.
go back to me. I need to go back to Christina rather than to whatever is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has to do with um, witnessing what's going on in life around me, not just in the household. I'm talking about the world, the news, being in touch with everybody and seeing other people strive. You start to really swallow that hook, line, and sinker, and it really affects your soul. So this actually allowed me to turn things off a little bit more so, to pull away a little more so, to direct my viewpoints and my interest and my thought process in different directions that are healthier.
Mm.
And I knew intellectually to do that, but I wasn't doing it.
Wow. Mm. Oh,
So, it takes kind of like reeling in the fish, you're reeling yourself in.
yeah. So it sounds like so before you had a lot of weight
Mhm.
and you were also kind of collapsing into like the momentum, the velocity of life, and
Yeah.
all the ways life tries to distract us. And it sounds like you were able to really gather yourself and come back to your center. And now you have that power to choose where you are investing your energy and your time. And you have now this kind of protective space, like, no, this is what's true and true for me. So what I'm hearing?
Exactly. Exactly. It was an incredible exercise, but also a reflection within the exercise
Mm-hmm.
because you actually saw what you were doing and saw, oh, is this how I am?
Oh, great. Yeah. It's such a courageous act to take a hard inventory of ourselves and truly see and have that dialogue, isn't it? And yeah, I was just curious if you had any last thoughts or comments of your time through Awaken the Sage or your experience or anything that's just in your heart.
Um, well, I highly recommend this to everybody. I wish this could be in our curriculums in schools for young people.
Yeah.
I wish that people of all ages could jump into this and take this on whenever they feel the need that they've pulled away for themselves. I wish that people would be a little more mindful about who they are to those around them and
Mm,
take on such a course because this is what we all need right now.
mm,
If there was ever a time in this human history, this is the time we need to take inventory of ourselves
mm,
and come back to who we are so that we face the world as ourselves and in a better form of who we are
mm.
so that we can make better decisions and more positive influence, period.
Yes.
We need more positive and more kindness out there. And
Mm,
this is a great way to purvey that, I think, is to learn and to work at this and to then be who you are and make it a better place.
I love it. Thank you, Christina.
Oh,
Mm,
you're so welcome,
yeah.
Chivito.
We appreciate you taking the time today and having this interview and sharing your experience so others can feel a little bit deeper into what this is. So thank you.
You're welcome. And my last words are please do the work. It's so worth it. It's
Oh,
so worth it.
yeah. Awesome.
Thank you
Great.
so much, Chivito.